Eggs. Gotta love eggs. Delicious things, eggs. Scrambled, fried, poached, boiled. Eggs Benedict, omelets, egg salad, bagel belts. Very versatile foods. I've been studying eggs for damn near my entire life. I'm just kidding, guys. It's still me. So, I want to talk about eggs. Definitely one of my favorite foods. I want to take this time to just talk about eggs. The egg review section will be based on 5 main categories, those being taste, mouthfeel, pairings, versatility, and simplicity. So here we go. The fried egg. Fried eggs is a homebody, a classic champ. Big on the scene when it first entered, it has always stayed strong but never really stood out. It's a basic egg, easy to make and pretty darn tasty, but the fried egg doesn't have too many pairings. You've got fried egg sandwiches, steak and eggs is your 2 biggies, but the sandwich is such a big hitter that it kind of covers all the bases and doesn't leave room for many other pairings. When it does match with something, it does so very, very well, but on its own, the fried egg is relatively unremarkable. In terms of taste, I think the fried egg should get an 8 out of 10. Pretty solid, just in general. It's not bad, and it's exactly what it's trying to be. It's expected. The mouthfeel of the fried egg is a little bit controversial. Some love it, some hate it, some don't care. I'm personally on the loving it side. I think fried egg is a great mouthfeel, so I'm going to give that one another 8 out of 10. The pairings with this category is a little difficult, but I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10 because though it doesn't pair with too many things, the stuff it does pair with, it pairs with really, really well. So, although unfortunately the fried egg starts to slip here. In the versatility category, it's not very versatile at all. So, I think it's going to have to end up with a 7 out of 10. A little note about the versatility scoring system, by the way. Because most eggs are pretty similar, the number of things that they'll pair with is also going to be similar. So I'm not basing it based on that. It's more based on if you were to go into a restaurant and someone were to ask you, hey, how do you want your eggs? And you were to say, whichever egg. How many weird looks would you get? So, for example, if you say you like over easy eggs with your farmer's breakfast, nobody's going to give you a weird look. But if you go and say you want some deviled eggs with your farmer's breakfast, everyone's going to give you a weird look. So the less weird looks you get, the better your score for versatility. In terms of difficulty of preparation, it's not that hard. It's a fried egg. I mean, I'm sure somebody could mess it up, but I mean, I think a 7 out of 10 is perfectly fair. It's possible to mess up, but it's not likely. So, that lands our lovely fried egg with a 7.6 out of 10, which is solid. I expected that, pretty much. Scrambled. Good egg. I mean, I'm a big fan of scrambled eggs. They're the first eggs I learned to cook. They're usually the first eggs people learn to cook because they're super easy. You can't really go wrong with a scrambled egg. It's up there with the easiest to cook. Up there taste-wise, and has a lot of pairings. That's a pretty top-tier egg. Scrambled eggs is an overall safe pick. It does what it's trying to do flawlessly, but it kind of just does that. That's where it falters. Scrambled eggs are never going to stand out unless you add something to them. That being said, scrambled eggs by themselves are by no means lacking. I'd say they'll lose some points just for having less variety of flavor because they're all kind of just like the one scramble. But I think they still get a 7 out of 10, which is not bad. I can kind of take or leave the mouthfeel of scrambled eggs. It doesn't really stand out at all as being good or bad. So I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. I think that's a pretty fair score. I think like 5 and below is bad. 7 and above is good. I think 6 is a good right in the middle thing. It's okay. Scrambled eggs don't really shine in the pairings. When you pair something with a scrambled egg, the scrambled egg is very rarely the focus. You got a breakfast burrito, everyone's thinking about the bacon, everyone's thinking about the cheese. No one's going to specifically mention the eggs. So, I don't know. I think another 6 out of 10 is fair. In versatility, unfortunately, the scrambled egg struggles once again. It doesn't have that many pairings, and in those pairings, it doesn't do very well. So, when that happens, you got to give it another 6 out of 10 for versatility. It's not a very versatile egg. You got burritos, you've got other breakfast things. It's just, I don't know. If you ask for steak and eggs with scrambled eggs, you're going to get some weird looks. It's not a very common thing, so I think 6 out of 10 is fair. Simplicity, on the other hand, is up there with the highest for the scrambled eggs. Of course, there's still some room for error, but scrambled eggs are just so easy, and they're great, so I think a 9 out of 10 is good here. Which means scrambled eggs' final score is a 6.8 out of 10, which I thought was a little low, but remember when I said about 6s? 60s are they're a pretty good score, you know. 6.8, that's almost a 70. That's almost the high range, but it's a middle of the range score for a middle of the range egg. Poached egg. Poached eggs are a little bit difficult to rank. Definitely not easy to make, but they taste so good. They're up there with the best in terms of eggs. I think the categories that they'll suffer in is versatility and mouthfeel, but I predict the poached egg is going to do pretty well for itself. When paired with the right thing, the poached egg is an unstoppable force, but it's really got to be that right thing. Taste, 8 out of 10. Very good egg, even on its own. All the best parts of fried and boiled eggs? Yes, please. I mean, you need some seasoning usually, but they do just fine with no seasoning. Mouthfeel for the poached egg is well discussed, let's say. A lot of people love it. A lot of people don't. This time I'm more on the don't side. It's too pillowy, too jiggly for me. I don't know. I like a firmer egg a little bit. If my egg bounces, I'm not a big fan. So I'm going to have to give the mouthfeel for this one a 6 out of 10. Pairings, easiest 10 of my life. Of course, the poached egg doesn't pair with a whole bunch of things, but the stuff it does pair with, man, I mean, you can't go wrong with an Eggs Benedict, and the poached egg is absolutely the centerpiece of all dishes that incorporate a poached egg, because you're not going to go through all that effort without making it a big deal. So, definitely a 10 here. Unfortunately, in versatility, though, we have another egg that gets its score cut by having just not enough pairings. You got Eggs Benedict, and then you don't have much else. The poached egg is just not up there in terms of a wide variety of choices. So I'm going to have to give that a 5 out of 10. Unfortunately, it does not let up either. I'm really glad the poached egg did well in the first half because it is not this time. I mean, for simplicity, it's got to be a 4. They're not necessarily the hardest egg, but on my list, at least right now, if I had one person make all 4 eggs, they're going to mess up the poached one more times than they're going to mess up any of the other ones. So I've got to give it a 4 out of 10 here. The poached egg's final score is 6.6 out of 10, which is lower than scrambled, which I did not expect. But, I mean, it makes sense. It's just not versatile and not easy. So, it's going to not do very well in the ranking system. Boiled egg. Boiled eggs are like the workhorse of eggs. They're quick, they're reliable, they're easy, but you're never going to amaze somebody with a boiled egg. Unless it's with how many things you can make out of them. In terms of taste, I think a 6 out of 10 is reasonable. They're really nothing special. I mean, I like the yolk and white difference, but boiled eggs you're not really eating those for the phenomenal taste. Mouthfeel, I'd say, is around a 7 out of 10 here. There's just something so satisfying about eating a whole boiled egg. I don't know. I really like it. A lot of people don't. But, we're not talking about them. We're talking about me. So this is a much more subjective category. And I personally am a big fan of the mouthfeel of boiled eggs. So 7. Pairings, 8 out of 10. Now, boiled eggs aren't normally the star of the show, but they just elevate the dishes so much. And someone will always take notice of it, like in an egg salad. I mean, it's just, the focus is still the boiled egg, and it's because it's a boiled egg. So I'd say it's fair. Versatility is by far the highest out of all the eggs. There's just so many dishes that incorporate a boiled egg or can incorporate a boiled egg, and it's not weird. Any farmer's breakfast, egg salad, any egg sandwich, those 1,000-year-old pickled eggs, like any egg that you need to make a boiled egg can be a fine replacement, and it's not weird as long as it's like warm. They're so versatile. 9 out of 10. Simplicity is another high score. I think 10 is fair. Of course, you can mess up a boiled egg, but then it's just a super boiled egg. And I mean, I guess, or a raw egg. But even still, people would eat either of those. So, I mean, someone's always going to eat your egg, especially if it's a boiled one, because it's not going to be that messed up. You try to cook a fried egg and mess it up, you got a charred little mess. Cook a boiled egg and messed up, you got a raw egg for a bodybuilder drinking their smoothie or whatever. Or you've got a super overcooked egg, chop it up, put it on some avocado toast. You still got yourself a delicious breakfast. Boiled eggs got a cheeky 8 out of 10 in total, which is higher than I was expecting, but I mean, for such a like a ready for everything egg, especially with scoring so high in those later categories, I'm not surprised. So boiled eggs won purely based on rank, but I think the fact that they did reveals a few problems in my ranking system. An egg that has an awful taste and awful mouthfeel, but is very versatile, pairs with a lot of things, and is very easy to make, will win against an egg who's just good at all of those. Which I think is not how that should be, because mouthfeel and taste are arguably the most important part of an egg, because no one's going to want to eat the egg if you can't eat it by itself. That being said, in my opinion, fried eggs are the best kind of egg. Their taste and mouthfeel cannot be overlooked. And everything else, like the pairings, I really have a soft spot for egg sandwiches. And fried eggs are just so good. You got that yolk acting as a sauce, mixing with whatever other breakfast sauce you have on there. So good. Fried eggs are a phenomenal breakfast food and a phenomenal egg in general. I ran a poll online. And with over 100 responses, the community agreed fried eggs are the best egg. I asked around, and the reasoning for fried eggs being the best egg were pretty similar to mine. I also asked the people who voted for boiled and poached, and their reasonings were pretty sound. I mean, they talked about most of the stuff I talked about when I was ranking the eggs, but I just still think fried gets the edge up over there. I think the conclusion that should be drawn from this is that all eggs are good. I think fried are the best, but the advanced scoring system says that boiled are the best. And we can all agree that deviled are the worst. I hate deviled eggs. Thank you. Have a good night. Oh, my phone, guys.